So today we are going to see Pharmacy Act 1948 further with respect to proceedings of Pharmacy Council of India and education regulations. So in earlier lecture we saw Constitution of Pharmacy Council of India and a brief history of Pharmacy Act 1948. Today we'll see how Pharmacy Council of India acts. Okay. So, mode of election. Elections under this chapter shall be conducted in the prescribed manner, and where any dispute arises regarding any such election, it shall be referred to the central government, whose decision shall be final. So, there is a election procedure, and that will be followed for electing the members and nominating the members and Constitution of Pharmacy Council of India. Next is terms of officers and casual vacancies of Pharmacy Council of India. Subject to the provision of this section, a nominated or elected member shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date of his nomination or election or until his successor has been duly nominated or elected, whichever is longer. So this means that the members will be nominated or elected, and they will remain on the membership of Pharmacy Council of India or as a member of PCI for 5 years. Then after, other person will be nominated or elected, or renomination of the same person may occur. So until the next person who is being elected or nominated on that particular place, the previous person will continue on his seat, or he'll be continued as the member. Next is a nominated or elected member may at any time resign his membership by writing under his hand addressed to the president, and the seat of such member shall thereupon become vacant. So if a person wants to resign, then he'll write directly to the president of Pharmacy Council of India, and when the resignation is accepted, his or her seat becomes vacant. A nominated or elected member shall be deemed to have vacated his seat if he is absent without excuse sufficient in the opinion of the Central Council from 3 consecutive meetings of the Central Council, or if he is elected under clause A, C or G of section 3, if he ceases to be member of the teaching staff, medical council of India, or a registered pharmacist, as the case may be. So in this third clause, it is said that if person do not attain 3 consecutive meetings, then it will be considered as the person has left the Pharmacy Council of India. Or if the person is not now no more further a teaching staff or a member of Medical Council of India or registered pharmacist, then they have to leave the membership of Pharmacy Council of India. Next is a casual vacancy in the Central Council shall be filled by fresh nomination or election, as the case may be, and the person nominated or elected to fill the vacancy shall hold office only for the remainder of the term of which the member whose place he takes was nominated or elected. So in any case, if an elected member or a nominated member leaves the um, Pharmacy Council of India, then new person will be appointed on his or her place, and they will remain the member for the remaining term, and then again nomination or election may occur. Okay, so if a person is a member of Pharmacy Council of India, once he was nominated or elected, he have to continue for 5 years. Say the specified person has left Pharmacy Council of India after 3 years. So 2 years of his term was remaining. So a new person was nominated or elected on his place. So that new person will continue only for the 2 years, and then after again nomination or election will occur. Next, no act done by the Central Council shall be called in question on the ground merely of the existence of any vacancy or any defect in the constitution of the Central Council. So nobody can make a question to the member, to the Pharmacy Council of India, कि why this particular place is vacant or why this place is not being filled. क्योंकि अगर ऐसे होता है कि a person who has only few months left to complete his term and he leaves Pharmacy Council of India, then only for few months, 2-3 months, Pharmacy Council of India may not appoint a new person. Rather, the council will conduct the new elections or nominations and then fill the place. So nobody can question why this place will remain, what you can say, remain vacant for few months. Okay. So that is there. Next is member of Central Council shall be eligible for re-nomination or re-election. So those who are already there, nominated or elected and members of Pharmacy Council of India, then those person can again be nominated or elected. Next point is staff remuneration and allowance of Pharmacy Council of India. The Central Council shall appoint a registrar who shall act as secretary of the council and who may also, if deemed expedient by the council, act as the treasurer thereof. So a Central Council or Pharmacy Council of India will appoint a person as registrar, and by default the registrar becomes the secretary of Pharmacy Council of India. And then there can be another person acting as treasurer for PCI, or registrar can also be the treasurer of Pharmacy Council of India. Next is appoint such other officers and servants as that council deems necessary to enable it to carry out its function under this act. So Pharmacy Council of India can appoint other officers and servants whose constitution is not, I mean, whose requirement or whose, what we can say, okay, Pharmacy Council of India can appoint other officers and servants whose places are not given in Constitution of Pharmacy Council of India, but the council feels necessary that these officers or servants are required for smooth functioning or proceedings of PCI. Then the PCI can appoint further officers and servants. Next is require and take from the registrar or any other officer or servant such security for the due performance of his duties as the council may consider necessary. So the council can require and take from the registrar the officers and servants who are required for the security purposes for the Pharmacy Council of India with the previous sanction of the central government, the remuneration and allowances to be paid to the president, vice president, and other members of that council, and the pay and allowances and other conditions of services of the officers and servants of that council. So all the members and other officers and servants which are appointed on the duty for Pharmacy Council of India will receive salary and allowances from the Registrar, Pharmacy Council of India. Okay. Next is the Executive Committee. The Central Council shall, as soon as may be, constitute an executive committee consisting of the president, who shall be chairman of the executive committee, and vice president, ex officio, and 5 other members elected by the Central Council from amongst themselves. So there will be, under PCI, there will be an executive committee. So this executive committee is formed to exercise practices of Pharmacy Council of India. Okay, so the president of PCI will become the chairman of executive committee, and other members will be vice president, the ex officio member, and 5 other members who are also the member of Pharmacy Council of India, and other members of Pharmacy Council of India has nominated, elected them as the member of executive committee. A member of the executive committee shall hold office as such until the expiry of his term of office as member of the Central Council, but subject to his being a member of the Central Council, he shall be eligible for re-election. So a member of executive committee will exercise powers of executive committee until he is member of Pharmacy Council of India. Once his membership expires, he becomes, he is no more the member of executive committee as well. But the person can be re-elected into the Pharmacy Council of India, and thus he can continue as the member of executive committee as well. In addition to the powers and duties conferred and imposed upon it by this act, the executive committee shall exercise and discharge such powers and duties as may be prescribed. So this means that executive committee members will have certain authorities and duties. So they'll execute those duties and use their power to execute the duties. Okay. Other committees. The Central Council may constitute from among its members other committees for such general or special purpose as that council may deem necessary, and for such period not exceeding 5 years as it may specify, and may co-opt for a like period person who are not members of the Central Council as members of such committees. So Pharmacy Council of India can form other committees. These committees can be general in purpose as supportive to executive committee or some functions of Pharmacy Council of India, or it can be special in nature. Maybe they require some information from some specific area, or they require expertise from specific area, then the PCI can form some other special committees as well. The members of the special committees or other committees will be the members other than Pharmacy Council of India. That means the members will not be the member of Pharmacy Council of India. Okay. The remuneration and allowances to be paid to the members of such committees shall be fixed by the Central Council with the previous sanction of the central government. So here, whatever salary or allowances which are to be paid to this other committee members will be first sanctioned by the central government and then implemented. The business before such committees shall be conducted in accordance with such regulations as may be made under this act. And the execution of these other committees will be governed by the Pharmacy Act 1948. Okay, now we'll study education regulation. So Pharmacy Act 1948 regulates education requirements for registered and qualified pharmacists. Okay. So under education regulation, subject to the provision of this section, the Central Council may, with approval of central government, make education regulations prescribing the minimum standard of education required for qualification as a pharmacist. So Pharmacy Council of India, along with central government, makes rules and regulations for the minimum standards of education for qualified pharmacists. In particular, the education regulation may prescribe the nature and period of study and of practical training to be undertaken before admission to an examination. So it gives, in short, this point says that the education regulation gives syllabus and the system of evaluation of the students who are gaining admissions for education of pharmacy. Next, the equipments and facilities to be provided for students undergoing approved courses of study. So this gives a list of equipments and standards to the institutions who are offering education in pharmacy. So there are facilities and equipments which should be there in the institution to run a pharmacy course. Next is the subject of examination and the standards therein to be attained. So what all will be the subjects and what will be the passing criteria will be defined by the education regulation under this act. Any other conditions of admission to examination. So other than completion of syllabus and practical training and the subjects of examination, if there is some other requirement, then those rules and regulations will also be specified by education regulation. The copies of the draft of the education regulations and of all subsequent amendments thereof shall be furnished by the Central Council to all state governments, and the Central Council shall, before submitting the education regulation or any amendment thereof, as the case may be, to the central government for approval under subsection 1, take into consideration the comments of the state government received within 3 months from the furnishing of the copies as aforesaid. So this long paragraph says that first, the education regulations will make syllabus. So it will make a draft of syllabus, and this draft will be provided to all state governments where the Pharmacy Act is is enforced, and the state governments will revert back with some suggestions or modification to the Central Council within the period of 3 months. Then upon discussion and modification of the suggestions, upon discussion of the suggestions and modification of the syllabus, it will be finalized. and this syllabus will be approved by the central government under the subsection 1. After gaining approval, the syllabus will be again forwarded to the state governments, and then the implementation of this syllabus occurs. Okay. Next point is the education regulations shall be published in the official gadgets and in such other manner as the central council may be directed. So whatever regulations, rules and regulations are there for the pharmacy education and syllabus, there will be published into official gadgets or any other way of official declarement. The executive committee shall from time to time report to the central council of the efficacy of the education regulation and may recommend to the central council such amendments thereof as it may think fit. Okay, I think I have left this word. Okay. So here the executive committee will look after how the syllabus is implemented and the standards of regulations are maintained within each state wherever Pharmacy Act is applicable, and will make or recommend changes to the Pharmacy Council of India. And then upon again the Pharmacy Council will act and will seek permission from the central government, and the changes will be implemented to every state. Okay. Next is application of education regulation to the state. At any time after the constitution of the State Council under the Chapter 3 and after constitution with the State Council, the state government may by notification in the official gazette declare the education regulations shall take effect in the state. So once the proper State Council is formed, then after the State Council will make declaration in the official gazettes and the education regulations will be implemented, provided that where no such declaration has been made, the education regulation shall take effect in the state on the expiry of 3 years from the date of the constitution of the State Council. So the second part of the paragraph says that the State Council must apply education regulation within 3 years after the formation of State Pharmacy Council. If it doesn't happen, then automatically after 3 years, the education regulations will come in force in that particular state. Next is approved courses of study and examination. So any authority in a state which conducts a course of study of pharmacist may apply to the central council for approval of the course, and the central council, if satisfied after such inquiry as it thinks fit to make, that the said course of study is in conformity with the education regulation, shall declare the said course of study to be an approved course of study for the purpose of admission to an approved examination for pharmacists. So this says that if any private body or any institution which is running pharmacist course, and that particular institution doesn't come under Pharmacy Council of India, saying under medical field or paramedical field, there is a course who is similar to the training of pharmacist, and they seek approval from the Pharmacy Council of India. Then Pharmacy Council of India will first make inquiries and inspections, And then after, if they find that whatever course is being run by that particular institution is in agreement with education regulation, then the Pharmacy Council of India will give approval to that particular course, and the person who are, or the people who are admitted for that particular course will be eligible for the examination for the pharmacist. Next is, any authority in a state which hold an examination in pharmacy may apply to the Central Council for approval of the examination, and the rest of the things is the same. So an authority or institution, they are not actually running a pharmacy or similar course, but they are conducting examinations only. Then they also have to take approval from the state, Central Pharmacy Council. And if it is found apt after proper examination and inquiry, then the approval to conduct such examination is given. In the third point, it says that every authority in the state which conducts an approved course or study or holds an approved examination shall furnish such information as the Central Council may from time to time require. Okay. So I'll just explain. We are running out of time. That after gaining approval for a particular course or a particular examination from Central Council, the body has to conform to the standards of the pharmacy course or pharmacy examination, and they have to prove themselves, or they have to provide proof to the Central Council wherever it has been demanded. Okay. Next is withdrawal of approval. So where the executive committee reports to the Central Council that an approved course of study or an approved examination does not continue to the conformity with the education regulation, the Central Council shall withdraw the approval. Or after considering any representation which may be received from the authority concerned and observations thereon, the state government may think fit to make, the council may declare that the course of study or examination shall be deemed to be approved only when completed or passed, as the case may be, before specified date. So here it says that if the executive committee finds that the approved course or examination doesn't match the level of education regulation, then there can be a withdrawal of approval. But if those particular institution prove that they have sufficient, they have done efforts for to match the level of education regulations, and if it is found that now the quality of the course or examination matches the education regulation, then the approval will be given again to those particular authorities. So that's all for today.